Hey Raiders fans, we're back with an exclusive video and the latest updates on our beloved Las Vegas Raiders. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. That way, you'll always stay up to date with breaking news and exclusive content. The buzz started like a faint whisper in the desert air, the kind of rumor that drifts between training facilities and executive offices before anyone dares collocar their signature on a contract. People close to the situation began murmuring that a transformative force was about to land in Nevada, and that force had a name whispered in locker rooms with a mix of fear and admiration: Quinnen Williams. The Las Vegas Raiders, always sedentos por espectaculo and noise, apparently decided they needed a commander in the trenches, someone capable of redefining the defensive heart of the franchise. It was not a small move, nor a cautious one. It was bold, loud, and drenched in that classic Raiders energy that seems to blend with the neon glow of the Strip. And according to those who claim to know, the agreement was not pending, nor in negotiation. It was done, signed, sealed, quietly settled behind closed doors while the league pretended not to notice. The only thing left was the inevitable explosion of reactions. As the rumor gained force, insiders began painting the picture of how everything unfolded behind the scenes, describing reunio's tensaw, all hairs calculados, and a sense of urgency from the Raiders' front office. They were reportedly convinced that their defensive identity needed a true cornerstone, a player who would not only fortify the line, but also set the emotional tone for the entire roster. For months, they had been chasing stability, hunting for that one dominant figure capable of anchoring everything from leadership to pressure packages. And apparently, Quinnen Williams fit that profile perfectly. The whispers suggest that the moment his name entered the conversation, the tone shifted. Some executives allegedly murmured that he was the one, the piece they had been missing ever since the team settled into its bold Las Vegas era. Whether this was strategic brilliance or sheer desperation, no one wanted to say. But something was brewing. The narrative deepened as analysts began speculating on what this move meant for the Raiders' long-term ambitions. Bringing in a player of Quinnen Williams' magnitude was not a decision taken lightly, nor one rooted in short-term splash. The murmurs suggest the franchise sees him as the future conductor of the defensive orchestra, a figure who will shape schemes, guide younger players, and become a symbol of toughness. Some insiders even claim the team sees him as the emotional center, someone who could unify a locker room that has seen its share of turbulence. They reportedly envisioned him walking into the facility, instantly commanding respect without saying a single word. That was the vision that allegedly sealed the deal. A vision bold enough to match the Raiders' identity, ambitious enough to satisfy fans starving for stability, and grounded enough to convince ownership that this was the correct step. The deal, it seems, was driven by equal parts football logic and pure intuition. What really caused the rumor to explode, however, was not just the agreement itself, but the way players across the league reacted when the news began circulating. Some reportedly sent messages bravadas expressing surprise, others caution, and a few excitement at the idea of facing him in the AFC West battlefield. The division had already been a war zone filled with quarterbacks, arm talent, and offensive fireworks. But now, the Raiders allegedly wanted to shift the narrative and bring the fight back to the trenches. The suggestion that Williams could become the face of this new era brought an entirely different energy to the conversation. It fueled debates, podcasts, and late-night live streams where commentators spoke with widened eyes, wondering aloud whether Las Vegas had just pulled off one of the most impactful defensive acquisitions in recent memory. The rumor became bigger than itself, transforming into a story about cultural change within the franchise. As the chatter grew louder, the supposed motivations behind the agreement became clearer through the grapevine. Some claimed the Raiders had been debating for months how to redefine their internal culture, aiming for a team built on discipline, consistency, and toughness rather than flashes of brilliance. They wanted someone who could embody those values naturally, without forcing leadership or creating artificial hype. Quinnen Williams, it seems, matched that desire perfectly. According to whispers, team officials admired the way he commanded respect simply by playing with relentless effort, how he could shift momentum on a single snap, and how his presence alone forced offenses to adjust. This was the kind of player who didn't just fill a position, but redefined it. The agreement, if real, signals a belief that no culture shift is complete without a true anchor in the heart of the defense. And the Raiders allegedly found their anchor. By the time the rumor reached full volume, the city of Las Vegas itself seemed to pulse with the possibility of the move becoming official. Fans allegedly flooded comment sections, imagining what the defensive line would look like with Williams setting the tone in the middle. The Strip's bright lights practically felt like they were buzzing with anticipation as discussions spread, not just across the football world, but into casual conversations between locals who dreamed of a team that reflected the toughness and spectacle of their city. The idea of Williams wearing silver and black carried symbolism, the promise of a new era, one crafted around grit rather than flash. And even though no one wanted to confirm anything publicly, the whispers all converged to the same conclusion. The agreement was real, the decision was bold, and the Raiders were gearing up for something bigger than anyone expected. The second wave of rumors began swirling almost immediately after the initial whisper settled, as if the football world collectively realized the magnitude of what was unfolding beneath the desert sun. Analysts and insiders alike started speculating about how the Raiders planned to integrate Quinnen Williams into their evolving identity. They supposedly envisioned him as more than just a defensive tackle. He would be the conductor of the interior line, the pulse of the defense, the player who could erase blocking schemes and force offenses to rethink their strategies every single snap. There is growing curiosity about how coaches plan to utilize his explosiveness and intelligence, with some insiders suggesting that they were designing packages crafted specifically around his strengths. Even without confirmation, the rumor created excitement, fear, and fascination all at once, reminding fans why the NFL thrives on unpredictability. As speculation gained momentum, whispers began emerging about the internal reaction within the Raiders facility. Some claimed that when the news spread among players, the atmosphere instantly changed. Veterans reportedly felt a surge of confidence. Rookies felt a spark of motivation, and coaches sensed the new chapter had begun before anyone even stepped on the field. The idea of Quinnen Williams taking command of the defensive interior created a ripple of belief throughout the team, as if the very identity of the franchise was being rewritten. Observers spoke about a new energy flowing through the halls, a sense that the Raiders were turning a corner not with slogans or speeches, but with action. For a franchise that has known both glory and chaos, this rumor carried a special weight. It hinted at stability, at purpose, at a realignment long overdue. Meanwhile, outside the facility, fans and commentators began tying this rumored move to a larger philosophical shift. If true, the agreement suggested that the Raiders were committing to a long-term plan centered around physicality and discipline rather than leaning solely on offensive fireworks or unpredictable momentum swings. The narrative painted Williams as the foundational stone for a defense that could grow organically, building around his dominance in the middle. Some even argued that such a commitment was necessary for the team to compete with rivals stacked with elite quarterbacks. They believed the best way to disrupt high-powered offenses was not by trying to outscore them, but by collapsing their structure before plays even developed. And according to the whispers, Williams was precisely the type of player capable of delivering that disruption week after week. As debate raged on, analysts dove deeper into the implications of the supposed agreement. Many saw it as a statement not just about talent, but about leadership. Williams was known for elevating those around him, not by shouting orders, but by executing with consistency and passion. That kind of leadership, some argued, was exactly what the Raiders needed, someone whose presence demanded accountability without requiring theatrics. The rumor claimed that coaches viewed him as the ideal example for younger linemen, a mentor whose work ethic could set the tone for the next generation. This narrative added another layer of significance, transforming the agreement from a simple roster move into a cultural pivot point. The idea that one player could reshape the internal structure of the franchise captured the imagination of fans across the league. In the broader football world, whispers spread that rival teams were quietly concerned about the possibility of Williams anchoring the Raiders' defense. The AFC West had long been dominated by offensive storylines, but this move threatened to shift that balance. Some insiders claimed rival coaches were already discussing hypothetical adjustments, imagining how their offensive lines would need to adapt to face a revitalized Raiders front. The rumor intensified as commentators speculated that this acquisition, if official, could be one of the most influential defensive decisions in recent years. It wasn't just about stopping the run or pressuring quarterbacks. It was about changing the strategic landscape of an entire division. That possibility alone was enough to keep the rumor at the center of football conversations nationwide. By the time the dust settled, the rumor had grown into something larger than a simple transaction. It became a story about identity, ambition, and reinvention. The idea of Quinnen Williams commanding the heart of the Raiders' defense resonated far beyond Las Vegas, hinting at a shift that could redefine the franchise for years to come. Fans imagined the roar of the stadium as Williams took the field. Imagine the ripple of excitement each time he exploded off the snap. Imagine the sense of pride that would emerge from having a true defensive anchor leading the charge. Whether the agreement was already locked in or still evolving, the whispers had created a powerful narrative, one filled with anticipation, speculation, and the unmistakable feeling that something monumental was unfolding in the heart of the desert. The momentum of the rumor reached a new level when voices close to league circles began hinting that the Raiders had been planning this structural shift for quite some time, long before anyone outside the organization noticed a change in tone. According to the whispers, internal meetings between scouts, analysts, and front office executives had circled around one key idea. The team needed a central figure who could anchor a long-term identity rather than serve as a short-term patch. They supposedly wanted someone who possessed equal parts dominance and emotional stability, someone capable of transforming chaos into consistency. And every shadowy source pointed back to Quinnen Williams as the perfect embodiment of that philosophy. The rumor suggested that the front office viewed him not merely as an addition, but as a blueprint, a player whose approach to the game could become the cultural standard inside the building. Even without formal confirmation, the story carried a gravitational pull strong enough to reshape how fans and commentators viewed the future of the franchise. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. As the narrative continued weaving itself through podcasts, live streams, and locker room conversations, speculation shifted toward how Williams' arrival might influence strategic planning in the coming season. Coaches, according to the ongoing rumor, had reportedly been exploring schematic possibilities built around his unique blend of power and speed. Some insiders whispered about redesigned pressure concepts, more aggressive interior stunts, and a commitment to controlling the pocket from the inside out. The idea was that Williams could force offenses to adjust from the very first snap, creating opportunities for linebackers and edge rushers to thrive. Even though nothing had been announced publicly, the rumor painted a vivid picture of a defense with renewed purpose, recalibrated around a single dominating presence. The excitement created waves among fans who had long craved a true defensive cornerstone, someone whose influence could be felt on every down. At the same time, league observers began discussing how this rumored acquisition might impact the Raiders' reputation among players across the NFL. Adding a dominant interior force like Williams could signal to veterans and rising stars that the franchise was finally committing to a stable, sustainable path forward. The whispers suggested that agents and insiders were already reevaluating how they viewed Las Vegas as a destination, imagining a team built not just on spectacle, but on foundational strength. For years, conversations around the Raiders had centered on unpredictability, shifts in leadership, and constant recalibration. But this rumor hinted at a new era, one grounded in discipline and long-term vision. If Williams truly became the anchor of the defense, it could shift the perception of the franchise in ways far deeper than any single transaction. It could redefine the trust players' place in the organization and attract talent drawn to the idea of building something durable in the desert. And as all these whispers intertwined, the story began to take on a life of its own, spreading beyond the NFL realm and into the broader world of sports culture. Commentators describe this rumored agreement as a moment loaded with symbolism, the kind of shift that transcends roster moves and becomes part of a team's mythology. The Raiders, with their iconic silver and black, have always thrived on identity and energy, and the idea of Williams stepping into that environment felt almost cinematic. Fans imagined him walking through the tunnel, imagined the roar, imagined the fear in opposing offenses as he lined up in the heart of the line. Whether the rumor was fully accurate or still evolving, it created an electric sense of anticipation. It made people believe that something big was forming beneath the bright lights of Las Vegas, something that could echo through seasons to come. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.